The brake system consists of disc brakes or drum brakes or a combination of the two, as well as a master cylinder, brake booster, ABS actuator and parking brake. When the brake pedal is pressed, the brake booster multiplies the force, causing the piston of the master cylinder to push more brake fluid into the brake lines, generating hydraulic pressure. This pressure causes the disc or drum brakes to generate braking force. Drum brakes apply braking force by pressing brake shoes against the inside of the brake drum, which rotates with the wheel. Drum brakes provide higher braking force than disc brakes of the same size. However, since the friction surface is located inside the brake drum, it has the disadvantage of poor heat dissipation, making it difficult to produce consistent braking performance. Disc brakes apply braking force by pressing brake pads against a brake rotor that rotates with the wheel. The brake pads are mounted inside of the brake caliper, and hydraulic pressure moves the piston inside the caliper to press the brake pads against the brake rotor. Disc brakes have high heat dissipation because the area where friction occurs is exposed. Any water or mud that comes into contact with the rotor is removed by centrifugal force, resulting in stable braking performance. This is why disc brakes are the most common type of brakes on modern vehicles. There are two main types of calipers for disc brakes: floating calipers and fixed calipers. Floating calipers consist primarily of a bracket fixed to the hub carrier, a movable caliper housing, pistons, piston seals and brake pads. Hydraulic pressure from the master cylinder pushes the inner piston, which presses the inner brake pad against the brake rotor. When the inner brake pad is pressed against the brake rotor, hydraulic pressure directed outward pushes the housing outward, and the outer brake pad fixed to the housing is pressed against the brake rotor. This causes the inner and outer brake pads to clamp the brake rotor and produce braking force. Floating calipers are used in many passenger cars because they are compact, lightweight, and cost-effective. In fixed calipers, the pistons are located on both sides of the caliper. The caliper body is fixed to the hub carrier, and only the pistons are movable. Fixed calipers have stable braking force and high controllability, but they have a greater number of parts, are expensive, and the caliper body is large and heavy. As a result, they are used primarily on sports cars, luxury cars, and vehicles with heavy vehicle weight. In addition to sealing the gap between the piston and caliper to prevent brake fluid leakage, the piston seal has other important roles. The piston seal adheres closely to the piston, and when the brake is pressed, the seal is pushed out with the piston and deforms. When the foot is removed from the brake pedal and the hydraulic pressure is lost, the elasticity of the rubber causes the piston seal to return to its original position. The force of the piston seal's return pulls the piston back to its original position and maintains a constant gap between the brake pad and the brake rotor. The piston seal keeping the gap between the brake pad and brake rotor helps to maintain a consistent brake pedal travel distance even as the brake pads wears thinner. The main brake pad friction materials are semi-metallic, low steel and non-asbestos organic nail. When comparing the three, semi-metallic brake pads have a lower brake effect level, but it is characterized by very high wear resistance and high material strength. However, it contains a higher concentration of steel fibers, which scrapes the rotor, resulting in more brake dust. Low steel material pads have a higher brake effect level and fade performance, but it also has high rotor aggressiveness, resulting in more brake dust. Also, squealing occurs more frequently. Nail material pads have a standard brake effect and wear resistance, less frequent squeal, and less brake dust due to lower rotor aggressiveness. Astemo uses proprietary friction material with improved wear resistance, less frequent squeal and brake dust compared to the basic nail material. When replacing brake pads, please apply appropriate grease before assembly. Shims should be assembled before use. If the shims have deteriorated due to heat, etc., replace them with new ones. Resurface or replace the rotor when brake pads are replaced. If the rotor falls below the manufacturer's recommended rotor thickness, then a new rotor is required. If the seal kit is deteriorated or components are not greased properly, braking drag may occur, causing noise, premature pad wear and worsening fuel efficiency. It is recommended that the seal kit be replaced at the same time when replacing the brake pads. When brake pads wear out, the heat from the brake pads can be transferred to the brake fluid, causing the brake fluid to boil and bubbles to form. If bubbles form, the hydraulic pressure generated by depressing the brake pedal is not transmitted to the brake caliper, the brakes may become ineffective. Therefore, it is recommended that brake fluid be replaced at the same time when brake pads are replaced. Let me show you some of the reasons why you should choose Astemo brake system products. Astemo has ISO 9001 and IATF 16949 certifications. Astemo has been providing many vehicle manufacturers with high-quality brake system products as a Tier 1 supplier. There are no compromises regardless of the application. Every product goes through rigorous durability and performance testing. Astemo products deliver consistent performance, even under the most demanding driving conditions, so you can use our products with confidence. Dynamometer test bench to simulate braking on a circuit as well as experience on the racetrack allow us to improve the performance and quality of our aftermarket products. We have wide range of brake system products to meet your needs. Brake rotors, brake calipers, brake pads, seal kits, brake shoes, master cylinders, brake fluid. So, when it's time for new brake system products, you know all the reasons why you should reach for the best Astemo brake products.